Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 127. On today's episode, we're going to be giving you our preview to the Champions League semifinal second leg. Man City versus Real Madrid, AC Milan versus Inter. We're going to see who's going to be reaching the UEFA Champions League final. Guys, remember, I posted a link on Twitter at Kool-Aid Podcast 10. Anytime you guys ever want to join and give your thoughts and reactions, always feel free and welcome. We encourage people to join that way, just to add some more conversation, more debate, because we are all Barca fans in this hangout, in this panel, and some hopefully exactly we have a fake Spurs fan here, but guys, Alvaro, Alex, you know them. First game, which we'll go with AC Milan. AC Milan Inter, just because that's the game that's gonna be playing on Tuesday. That's the first game. Guys, who's winning that game? No. Before we get to that, thoughts. Spurs.
They're winning. They're winning the UCL.
Spurs can't even make it to the Champions League.
Alex, if you still stick by your statement that Milan's gonna win the UCL, they're gonna come back and they're gonna win. I promise you.
Bro, wait, hold. Let's go back on the Spurs real quick. Are we gonna talk about how Spurs are not in the Champions League next season? Are we gonna talk about how they actually got spanked by Newcastle? And are we gonna talk about how Harry Kane is possibly gonna be leaving? So like what?
Hey, but listen, I want that for him. I want him to show everyone that he's the best striker in the world. That's why the press Spurs fans outside. Look, tomorrow's a very important game, as we all know. Milan are on the ropes here. AC Milan, they're going to have to make a huge comeback, and it's going to be very difficult. We both know. I mean, we all know how incredibly defensive both teams can be. Especially AC Milan, but Inter's defense has proven to be a tough one to break over the last couple of seasons. I certainly remember last season when Liverpool barely beat them in I believe it was quarterfinals. Might have been round of 16. I'm not sure right now, but we've seen that again. Milan is a tough team to beat, both AC and Inter, but mainly I think Inter is just a team with experience. In the last few years, we've seen a huge rise in their, you could say in their power rankings. They've certainly been higher up in Serie A than we've seen them in the last couple 5-6 years, and I think it's been a result of a lot of things. Certainly their defense, Bastoni, players like him, Skriniar, they've certainly helped a lot of the defense. Also, we have players like Dumfries who are very versatile, and of course you're mixing as well all the experience of players like Edin Dzeko, Mkhitaryan, Lukaku, and Martinez. It's a very well-rounded team. And I think it's been very, very interesting to see how they've risen. Now, AC Milan is a team that, as we know, a historical giant in the UCL. I believe it's the second team with most UCL wins. Titles.
I believe they have 7. Is that right?
It might be around there, yeah. But
yeah,
again, huge team. In the last couple of years, they haven't been at their height. They're certainly falling off from what they once were.
And then in the 90s and like the early 2000s.
Those teams with
those teams are actually insane.
Nesta,
exactly.
Disgusting teams. And of course, we're seeing that. I think it's a growing project right now that we're seeing in Milan, and I think it's again mixing the right amount of youth with experience. We see players like Olivier Giroud, experienced seasoned striker, who we all know how deadly he can be in the box, and we see the mixing of the youth of players like Rafael Leao, just pure class, phenomenal as a player, as a winger, as anything you want. He has all the right attributes to make him a deadly opponent against any fullback or center back, and he's quick, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can do everything. And you also have players like Theo Hernandez, who again were very versatile, can counterattack and make the attack and defense very deadly. So again, I think tomorrow is going to be a very evenly matched game, regardless of the fact that Inter Milan have the upper hand here, and a significant one that is. It's a 2-goal lead. You're playing at home or away. It's the same thing.
They're playing in the same stadium.
I think you're gonna say it now. Although when they are playing home, they allow more fans of a team to go
exactly.
Right. So now Inter will be playing home, so they'll have a greater fan base there. But again, the reason I still wouldn't count AC Milan out, and I know you guys are counting me for the prediction of them winning the UCL. I think, look, first of all, Leao's back
Yeah,
in the
he
squad tomorrow.
yeah,
He's most
he's gonna
likely
play.
in the squad. He will play.
Bro, he's gonna play in crutches if he needs to.
Yeah,
They're gonna inject him with like horse steroids or something. He's playing. No,
for
no, no,
sure.
no matter what, he's being on the pitch.
And I think he was a huge missing piece in the puzzle for AC Milan in the first leg, and it's because you didn't see a proper transition from. Well, I mean, obviously the defense was very scattered, and I saw very poor movement in the midfield, but you also didn't have that good transition into offense that Leao can help bring with the counterattacks he does. Um, but yeah, I just think tomorrow will be a very different game. Inter do have to watch the lead. They should try to avoid conceding early because an early goal for Milan will certainly not look good for Inter. Will break down the team for sure.
But at the same time, if Inter get the first goal,
Right, no,
I think
I think it's
that's
wraps.
game over. That's game
I
over.
honestly think it's wraps. I don't see them coming back from that, but again, I could be wrong. But regardless, we'll see. It'll be a very close, good match tomorrow. I certainly have my hopes still with AC Milan. I'm very fond of the team, and I like a lot of the players. So they're still my dark horse, I guess you could say, to win the UCL. But we'll see. I think it's gonna be a very close match. Like I said, I know I've kind of been rambling about both teams now, but we'll
Okay.
just have to watch. I definitely still think that they're not out of it.
Okay, Alvaro.
Okay, several things. Um, what Alex said early on when he was talking, he said that Milan they have been very good defensively, and they're gonna have to show their offensive side. Milan has not shown with or without Leao, they have not shown that they are an offensive force. They rely on their defensive game a lot, just like how many Italian teams do it. And in my opinion, I don't think when you're playing home away in a stadium that's pretty much neutral, I don't. I will be shocked even with Lao playing. I will be shocked to see to see them put up 2 goals, 2+ goals at least
Exactly. Two
against
goals
a
without
team.
reply.
Exactly
That's the question.
against a team like Inter that is also very defensive.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure last week when we were talking about this, I made a comment saying that I was expecting Inter to be a little more passive and be more careful with attacking and leaving holes at the back. I take that back because I know you said the opposite, and I agree with you. I think that Inter's gonna start out strong, try to score first, and demoralize AC Milan. Um, and that's what I think is gonna happen. I mean,
Okay.
whether Inter scores early or keeps the pressure up, it's gonna tire out Milan enough and frustrate them to probably force a mistake. So I honestly I would be shocked if Milan is able to over AC Milan is able to overcome this. Um, there's probably a more clear result than Wednesday's game.
Okay. Okay. My quick thoughts on this game is whoever scores first, I think that's gonna dictate how the game is gonna go, because a two-goal lead, it's not impossible to overturn. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. It's very doable. It's
I
very
think
doable.
we all witnessed the greatest comeback of all time.
In the remontada.
So
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I mean, look, Alex always says this: the 2 goal lead is the most deceiving lead
Exactly.
in,
Uh-huh.
in football. I mean, you think you're up, but then momentum shifts after it turns
Mm-hmm.
to 2-1, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole different game.
If I was Inter, I would be looking to score that first goal, because if you score that first goal, you completely just like
yeah,
kill AC
you
Milan.
kill all the efforts.
And look,
Exactly,
and
you
look,
kill
and
all,
look,
because for example, if AC Milan they score, it's a completely different game, right there. The nerves come into play on Inter. I mean, then it's only a 2-1 scoreline, right there. All Inter need to do is play more calm. Just know that it's only one goal, and you turn up the series. That it's a completely different game that you have to play. That's what Inter have to look for.
and that's why I initially said that Inter was gonna be a little more passive. I still I'll stick by
You think
my
so?
out no, and that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of defending what I said previously, but I'm sticking to what I'm saying right now that they will try to score first, but to a certain extent, AC Milan, they're gonna rely a lot on counter attacks with the state of the offense that is not overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So the slightest Inter mistake, they're gonna try to make some damage off of that. Hence why Inter, although they're dying to score first, they can't just full on push up and allow for the momentum to completely shift.
Okay. Question: if you were Inter, would you guys be looking to, for example, to play that mid low block? Would you play more passively, and just like, for example, have AC just like completely just like dominate the ball, but like not like put pressure here and there just to make them a little bit uncomfortable? Or, for example, would you take a more offensive approach and just go for the goal? Because if you go for the goal, that's pretty much the game over. But at the same time, if you go for that goal, you're leaving space behind. And with Liao, for example, in the counter, that's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous approach. So how would you, if you were Inter, how would you approach this match?
I would go with the intention to kill the opposition.
Okay.
You can leave a chance if and again, it's a very risky move, like you said. It leaves a lot of chances for AC to counterattack, and we know how great they are at doing that. But I would still take the risk. Worst case scenario, you don't score and they score one on you. You still have another goal ahead of them. So then you can say, okay, let me sit back down, let me defend, let me settle down. But I think start off the match with that intention. If you see that things are more on the other side, if AC Milan are playing better, then
you change your approach.
Right.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Wait,
You want to say something?
Where you go? I mean, like, again, I agree with Alex that they got to kill the opposition, but to a certain extent,
Okay.
there's not a 3-0 lead, and definitely they're not gonna be as defensive as if it was a 1-0 lead. But I mean, they can't afford to completely to make mistakes at the back. So I mean, I'm agree with you guys saying that they have to kill the opposition, but we'll see how they approach this. So,
Okay. Here's the thing with AC Milan. AC Milan's attack relies heavily on Leao, and their midfield. We saw in the first game, the space between midfield and attack and defense. It was like what, 20 meters, for example, and that's where you saw Inter's goal come from. So what AC Milan is going to have to do is they're going to have to shore up defensively. They cannot have the same performance that they had last week, because if they have that same performance, it's game over. It's game over. Inter's going to have a field day, and they're going to get 2 or 3 goals. It's simple as that. Because, for example, Inter they missed a lot of chances. It could have been 3 or 4 by the end of the first half. So if I was Inter, I would probably maybe go for the same approach. Maybe play a little bit more offensive, and try to get that goal. But guys, match predictions. Who is winning?
It's going to be a 3-0 score, and AC Milan will go to the finals.
Okay. Alvaro.
Honestly, I said 1-1 or 0-0 last time, thinking that it was going to be a very defensive game. I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1 to who? AC or?
Sorry. 2-1 Inter.
2-1 Inter. I'm going to go for the same scoreline. I do believe that AC Milan is going to score. However, I think Inter, just being the better team overall, they are going to be better defensively and with more offensive threat. For example, they have Lukaku.
Remember that momentum sometimes makes mistakes. A team is so motivated after scoring, after cutting it in half and being 2-1, that they don't completely push up, but they're more inclined to be offensive than they make mistakes that we've been talking about. So that's why I'm expecting it to 1.
And something to keep in mind is that even though, like, if you have the momentum, it doesn't mean that you're going to be the one.
Exactly.
Because, for example, in the last week in the Real Madrid versus Man City game, the goals came when the other team was at their best. When Manchester City were at their best, Real Madrid scored. When Real Madrid were at their best, Man City scored. So just because you're on top and the momentum is in your favor doesn't mean you are going to score. But Alex is going to go for an AC Milan win going to the final. Both Alvaro and we are going for an Inter win. We'll see who's right. But now moving on to the next game, the game which most people think that the winner is going to be the winner of the entire Champions League. Man City versus Real Madrid. Real Madrid is going to go to the Etihad, a stadium in which they've never won before, and they're going to try to get a win. It's simple as this. Whoever wins the match goes on to the final. It's simple as that. No away goal rules or anything like that. Just simple. You win, that's it. You go to the final, and you have a chance to write history. Either Man City winning the first UCL or Real Madrid adding a 15th UCL title to their trophy cabinet. Now, guys, quick thoughts, but before we like dive a little bit deeper, well,
As a
what are your thoughts
Spurs
on that?
fan, I would like one of those UCLs to go to us. If they win a 15th, please, it would appreciate it.
Relax. You won the Audi Cup.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're never gonna win that.
Exactly.
No, I agree with what you said 100%. It's gonna be a very very close game. It's it's winners takes all basically.
Hmm.
Any I honestly think all jokes aside, I know I want AC Milan to win the UCL, but I do think whoever wins this is most likely going to be the one that takes the title. And we all know how big these two clubs are. Madrid, with the history they have, phenomenal club in the UCL, and they're certainly, at least in the competition, they've been playing very well. We saw a very dominant performance against City, which I don't think we expected. I think we expected it to be more one-sided, but we know how well Madrid can defend and counterattack. And
But do
City,
you
of course,
believe like that it was because Real Madrid played well, or do you think Man City played poorly, or a
no,
combination of both?
Madrid play well. Madrid play well, and City
Okay.
didn't play poorly. You can make defensive mistakes, but Madrid played well and they executed what they had to execute. And
Okay.
City, of course, we know it's a very powerful team. We see some new faces, mainly Erling Haaland, which I think is going to be a deciding factor here in this
He
game.
needs to show up. He can't go in two important games in a row. He
Yeah,
can't do that.
if he shows up, I think we're going to be looking at a very different match.
But that's the thing. Is he going to show up? Because Real Madrid, they managed to lock him down. Rudiger did a fantastic job man marking him,
I think he will show up.
not giving him any space. And that's one question that we have to answer. Is Carlo Ancelotti going to be starting Rudiger, or is he going to be starting Eder Militao?
No,
Because
he's going to start Rudiger. I think he's going to start Rudiger to lock down Haaland. But either way, I need Haaland to play well. I have him in my fantasy, and I can't go another week not
No,
having.
look. Seriously, whether Pep did it on purpose or just it was just like an accidental result that he wasn't anticipating. The result of the first leg, we saw that they completely dominated that first half, except that counter attack that made it 1-0 in favor of Madrid. That game was. I'm not saying it favored City, but it kind of did. And that and
Yeah,
that
you're
was
tying away.
what happened.
You're tying a game away. Yeah,
And that was
Exactly.
that was him locking up Holland. You run a different game plan now, and you figure it out. I'm not gonna speculate what he's gonna do because I'm not a coach. You tweak some things, and I mean, at home second leg on a 1-1. I don't see how City plays worse after experiencing what they experienced with Haaland locked up. You would
Mhm.
expect that they would have done terribly bad with no Haaland production. They didn't.
Mhm.
So if they're able to find a way to get Haaland more inclusivity into that attack, I
Okay.
the ball is in Pep's court right now.
What do you think, Elias?
Okay. Looking at this game, I think it's one of the most 50-50 ties in recent years because, for example, Real Madrid, the heritage, everything like that, they can win at the Etihad because records are meant to be broken. It's simple as that. Man City, they're also favorites. They're playing at home. They have Haaland, everything like that. I believe if someone scores the first goal, it doesn't mean that they're going to be going through. For example, this could be going any other way. This could be going like extra time. This could be like a high scoring 3-3 or 4-4, something like that. It could be at the same time very grindy, very tactical. We would have to see what's going to happen in the game. The one thing that I would be looking for is how is Real Madrid's defense going to be lining up, for example, because Eder Militao has been Real Madrid's best center back throughout this entire season, arguably one of the best center backs in the world, Eder Militao. He's had a fantastic season for Real Madrid, and Rudiger had a fantastic game locking up Haaland. So what do you do? Because, for example, Camavinga is a doubt, but would you want to play Camavinga at left back, or would you want to play in CDM? What's being rumored right now is that the back four is going to be Alaba at left back. Let me share my screen so you guys are able to see. This would be Manchester City's lineup, which I think is fairly easy to predict. One question is, would you rather be starting Bernardo Silva or Mahrez? But since we're talking about Real Madrid, this is one option. For example, you have Courtois, you have Camavinga, you have Alaba, Rudiger, Carvajal, with that midfield three of Modric, Kroos, and Valverde, Rodrigo, Benzema, and Vinicius. That's one option where you are a little bit more offensive. Or what you could do is you bring Camavinga up into midfield. You bring in Militao, so you have a backline of Alaba, Rudiger, Militao, and Carvajal, and you bench Rodrigo. That's one option. That's one option, just to create that midfield superiority. Just the thing is, they're not going to play in this formation. They're going to have that three in the back, basically five midfielders with Vinicius and Benzema up top. That's one option that we can go for. Now,
I honestly think, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was going to be asking you how would you guys, if you were Carlo Ancelotti, because then we'll dive on to Manchester City, how would you line up? Would you want to be a little bit more offensive, starting Rodrigo, or would you want to, for example, have Camavinga in that midfield?
I honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I thought Madrid's squad against City was maybe the best they could have taken. I would actually go ahead and bench Alaba and start Eder Militao. Or no, I lied. I would put Alaba right back and start Eder Militao. Just basically put my best defense to play. You could switch him around. I know Alaba is naturally left-footed, but it doesn't matter to me. Just if I was Madrid, I would start my best defense.
My mic turned off, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but my mic turned off. I'm just gonna be fixing some settings off with the mic. So you and I will just continue the conversation, okay?
Oh, good, don't worry. But yeah, Carvajal, I think in his prime maybe was a decent player, but I don't think he's gonna be able to keep up with Manchester City's attack, and I think other players have more to offer here. So I would actually go ahead and I would take back what I said. I'll put Eder Militao right back, and keep Alaba, Rudiger center back with Camavinga left back, and I would keep the rest of the team the same. I know it's something a little unconventional for Madrid, but I think starting those other two would also help the team a lot. And I don't know. I feel like Rodrigo, real quick. I feel like Rodrigo is the right man for the job. You can bench him, and we've seen that he's been a great super sub for Madrid. We saw that last season, but I don't know, man. I just think I really think the way he's playing now and the way the whole team is playing, that's the best option to go.
I'm gonna kind of. I mean, I agree with you because the issue is is what you said. It's not traditional, or yeah, it's not traditional for Madrid to put Militao right back. And I agree with you. I mean, just like Elias says, Militao has been one of the best center backs in the world this season, and it will make sense to start your two best center backs, Rudiger and Militao, and lock up the right side as much as the middle with Haaland as much as possible. But I don't see Ancelotti doing that. I see Carvajal sticking there. I don't agree with it, but I mean, they don't have many options for right back. And although I agree with you that I should start Militao there, they probably won't. And if that's the case, and Carvajal starts, City has to exploit that because Carvajal cannot keep up on that side. But aside from that, I think that starting 11 is pretty. I mean, it's the best they can throw out there. So
yeah. Moving on to the Manchester City squad, starting 11, as we can see, Elias brought it up. I actually don't like one thing about this starting 11, and it's the fact that we have a double pivot of Rodri and John Stones. Now, I remember him starting last match and Stones in that CDM position, and I don't think he was bad. I thought he played a decent game, but I think that for what City needs to accomplish here, you should bench him. Gundogan should help Rodri in the double pivot, and you should bring in Julian Alvarez to play alongside Erling Haaland because I think
should we be going for more offensive lineup then?
Exactly. I actually do.
I know you're saying that Yasmin Elias having.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, Julian Alvarez is gonna have like a super important game to play. However, I think that back four is the ones who's going to be starting. I think the major question is going to be Mahrez or Bernardo Silva. Would you want to have the offensive threat from Mahrez, or would you want to have like the defensive solidity from Silva?
Well, no, I think Silva can provide a sufficient offensive threat. I know Mahrez is more of a traditional right winger. He certainly likes hugging the right side of the field more, and he's great on the ball. He's got great passing, good finishing. But I think that Bernardo Silva is the right man, and the reason I think this is because we can see how good he is dribbling. He's such an amazing player at carrying the ball and moving it through the defense and through the team's defense, and we see him get out of tight situations all the time. So I think he would be great for that. I really do think Julian Alvarez needs to get minutes this game,
He's gonna be
and
vital. Mm-hmm.
and listen, if you bench Stones, right? If you play
Mm-hmm.
that back three with Rodri helping out the defense, Gundogan dropping back a little bit, and you put Alvarez up there, you're providing so much firepower. Now they're gonna have to worry about Haaland and Alvarez, and we know how well Alvarez is at moving around because he's also smaller. How he can get in between defenders, pass the ball, finish. I think he's a very solid striker as well. I know people have
Well,
referred to him as Sergio Aguero region,
he is.
but no, I think he's a phenomenal player. You just gotta give him a chance, and I think this is a great chance for him to prove himself as a valid and
Okay.
solid for the team.
All right. Match predictions then. Who do you have going through?
Wait, before you guys continue, I kind of agree with Alex. I would like the starting 11 to be a little more offensive. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
with Stones and Rodri in the middle, you're kind of just holding him back most of the game. Maybe Pep starts like this and then he goes a little more offensive later on. It should be the other way around. You probably start a little more offensive and get more defensive as the game carries on, depending on the situation. But I mean, yeah, I don't like the idea of Rodri and Stones at the back. I mean, in the middle like that, it just gives the team a whole different vibe in terms of tactics. And honestly, I almost try to do Alex and maybe play Guandogan more back and then just fill that spot in with maybe you can shift Mares more on the right side, put Bernardo more like right center mid. We'll see, but that game plan seems a little too defensive for a team that does not have the lead in the second leg going to the second leg. So.
Okay. So match prediction, guys. Who you have winning the game?
I have City winning 1-0 and going
1-0. Okay. Abelo?
Let's do 2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Okay. I'm gonna be going for the first match prediction from that first game. I'm gonna be going for a 3-2 Man City game. Man City win. I believe so. So we're all going for Manchester City. No one's going for Real Madrid. It's gonna be very interesting.
Honestly, I feel like all of us agreeing that Madrid's losing. They're just gonna win. Like
Okay.
2-0.
Okay. So I will take one for the team and say Madrid is winning.
Nah, no, I can't. We've already seen Madrid do crazier things.
Bro, Real Madrid can't win again, man.
I'm gonna stop watching football.
Yo, we see a booty
Bro,
hurt. We see a booty hurt Barca fan over here, bro.
Like, oh my god, like 15 times.
Now, honestly, I said it when we were doing the preview for the first leg. This City team is different, and I mean, I don't know what I'll tell you, bro. We've seen crazier things. Streaming in this podcast, we've seen crazier results and crazier outcomes, but I think you gotta go for the favorite here, and the favorite is not Madrid. So
okay. So guys, we're all going for a Manchester City win.
I guess so, bro.
Yeah, and then let's hope.
Don't forget to put your bets in.
Exactly, guys. Let us know down in the comments who do you think is gonna win. Guys, as always, remember follow us on our social media platforms on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, all on our Kool-Aid podcast. Guys, remember I also post a link on Twitter, at Kool-Aid Podcast. Click the link and then you'll be able to join. But as always, guys, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps out the channel out a ton. We'll see you guys all on Wednesday for our UCL roundup. Peace out, guys.